Folks, today we have the Killshots Cornhole P90 Gen 3 ACL Pro 2021 to 2022. Yes, we do. The Killshots Cornhole P90. Shooters shoot. Neato. Initial impressions of the bag. Very, very, very thin. Oh, there's like nothing in here. This is, if you like a floppy bag, I wouldn't say a floppy bag. They're all going to be floppy eventually when they break in. If you want a really thin bag with what feels like zero fill, this is the bag for you. I mean, this is really thin. This is pushing the limits. It feels like it's like less than an inch thick. I think it is less than an inch thick. Just looking at it from the side, I mean, it is thin stuff. Anyways, this fabric here, this is the reverse, the back side of the fabric. The most common fabric in cornhole probably, other than duck canvas, turbo. And this is the other most common fabric in cornhole. Well, might as well just say the name because it's on literally every bag. It's called Rave. You can get it from Richland. And there you go, Rave Richland. It's the same fabric combo as the All Slide. Same fabric combo as, well, that's probably the first bag that started using it. Like, that was really big and everybody knows about. So when people say, yeah, it plays like an All Slide, that's because it's the same fabrics. This, of course, is way thinner. Corners look good. It's got a pretty wide closing stitch. The tip of my thumb to my tip of my thumb. That's pretty wide. That's got to be like 3 inches. Well, why are we guessing when we can just measure? Yeah, 3 inches. Bag size overall coming in at 5 7/8. And thickness, yeah, I don't really have a good way to measure that on camera, but it feels extremely thin, like less than an inch. Well, you know what? I can do this. Yes. Eyeballing it from the side, that is less than an inch thick. Crazy thin. Initial close-up. This is the backside of Rave. And the backside of Turbo. Colors look pretty good. Colors look really good. This design is undoubtedly a stock design from either Shutterstock or Adobe Stock or anywhere that sells stock photos. Same design on both sides. Yeah, there it is. Pretty tight stitches we're looking at here. Good stuff. Initially, corners look just fine. Let's get a weight on all these bad boys. 15.7. Definitely less than a pound. 15.7. 15.7. 15.7. That's pretty light. And they're all the same weight, definitely. But they are pretty light. 15.7, especially being as thin as they are. Is that on purpose? Do they want them this thin and this empty? Feels like there's just nothing in there, but it does feel like it's going to be a single pellet fill. That is also my guess. It just feels like it's going to be a single pellet. Like, why would you do a mixed fill on something so thin and empty? Doesn't make sense. So it's probably a single pellet. We'll see. Well, let's get into there. And before I do get in there, I just want to point out on the closing stitch that it's done on an automated machine. It's starting here, going down and back, so they got a double stitch on the closing seam. Good for them. All right, we are in. Let's take a quick peek here. As predicted, looking like, geez, it's so empty I can't even push it to the top here. Single pellet fill. Little small boys, pretty tiny. Nice. All right, there it is. The inside of the bag. Absolutely nothing to it, except there are a few kind of cool things we're gonna see closer up, but right away you can tell it's laser cut. You got laser cut edges. The actual stitching pattern is way off center. Single stitch. That closing seam ran all the way across. Here's those little pellets. Nice and tiny. These are, I think, the smaller of the two that is offered by the company that makes these. Yeah, these are super tiny. This was what was mixed in the butter bag as the smaller pellet, I believe. Well, there's only one way to know for sure. Let's get a closer look right now. All right, here they are in all their glory. These are used bags that were sent to us by a donor, a bag donor. But here we see that tiny pellet. These are well broken in. You see some nice buffing going on in the pellet. The edges are pretty much rounded off from all the wear and use. And yeah, this is what a broken in fill looks like. So remember, it's not just about breaking in the fabrics. You want to break in your fill, just playing games. Play. Little tiny pellets. I got some little tiny pellets too. In fact, I spilled some when I was emptying it out, so I'm going to add some more here. And look at that. The pellets I added are exactly the same as the ones that are already there, so that's nice. Take the most popular pellet fill with the most popular fabrics in cornhole, and you get a very popular bag. However, I'm not too keen on how empty the bag feels at 15.7 pounds or 15.7 ounces, and this tiny fill, it's just, the bag just is too thin. We measured less than an inch thick. Wild. Let's get into this seam. This was sewn with rave as the top side when they put it in the automated machine. And you know it's automated machine because there's no lines showing them where to sew with a manual machine. But they do have a real nice back tack here. It looks like 7 or 8 stitches. That's great. I mean, sure, it's a single stitch, which I'm not a fan of, but they can kind of get away with that, being that it has the laser cut edges. But a laser cut edge cauterizes the fabric, I'll say. Seals it up nice. And there's no fraying at all. These are well worn in. They were broken in. They kind of smell like detergent a little bit. So there were some break-in methods going on other than playing. And fabric looks a-okay on the inside. Stitches look pretty good. Yeah, I mean, they're a little crooked, but that's all down to the machine and how it's set up. A little bit of tension issues going on. A little bit, like nothing to really be concerned about. Okay. Not too bad. Where am I? I'm lost again. So like I was saying, this is the actual show side of this fabric, Turbo. They use the back side. You can see a little browning here from the laser. With it being polyester, it just kind of melts. Good stuff. Take a quick look at the closing stitch. Over here on the left side, it definitely, because it felt like a really long stitch. When I was taking the seams out, stitches out, I could feel myself hitting this before I got to the end of the stitch. So the back tack is like all 6 of these. It runs all the way over and completely covers any gap, no problem. So you're never going to have leakage issues with this bag. Taking a look at this template overall, nice shape. A little concerning that it's so not centered. And I was looking at these other bags on the edges. One of them is off a little bit. We're going to see where this one was. But yeah, this would be the top side when they're putting it in the automated machine. So it's definitely off by a ways. So you can see the edge here. Let's take a quick measurement of the seam itself. 6 3/8. 6 3/8, same as mine. Yep. The opening for you bag makers out there. Openings at 2 3/4. Nice size. Makes it really easy to flip them bags inside out. As we were saying before, sublimated and then laser cut. I wonder if they were done in one of them big old calendar presses, like a roll-to-roll sublimation machine, just churning these bad boys out. Normally you'd sublimate on this side, but I mean, you can do it on whatever side you want. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm telling you what they did. Little flip action. These are pretty well broken in. Nice and soft. Doesn't take much. Yeah, this one's definitely off compared to, say, this one. See the difference in the nose and the eye? That's like, I don't know, 1/4 inch. But hey, it works. Okay, Killshots Cornhole P90 Gen 3. I don't know what was in Gen 2. I don't know what was in Gen 1. But if this is the latest revolution of these bags, they got a lot of work to do. They're just so thin. There's nothing here. And maybe that's how you like them. Maybe that's how you like your bags. This isn't necessarily a review of the bags. But if it was, it would not be a very positive review. Because these are kind of average bags, if you ask me. They have a stamp on them. Neat. They're just kind of average overall. They're just really thin, single fill, the most common fabrics in cornhole, at least the pro cornhole. So, I mean, what can I say? Single stitch. They're not, stitch isn't even centered on the template. All four are different. And where the stitching is, one redeeming factor it does have is this down and back bar tack. So that ain't never coming open. So you don't have to worry about pellets leaking out. They're gonna break in nice because these fabrics just get really, like they're very durable. I'll say that these fabrics are very durable in the right conditions. Like, you don't go playing on gravel, you're never gonna get a pull, and they'll last you, hell, your cornhole career probably. But yeah, just super thin. That's my one huge demerit. The biggest demerit I can give these is the thinness. The design's okay. It's just a stock design as the background. They got a nice gradient here, the Killshots logo and the P90. I'd love to know what is so Gen 3 about these, but it's got the Pro stamp. All in all, you shouldn't really be paying more than 60-70 bucks for these bags. New or used, definitely not used. Yeah, there you go. Killshots P90 Gen 3. I want to give it 2 floppy thumbs.